This is D-Cup again with our book reading. We are reading out of this book. It's called Torch. It's still burning brightly. And these are stories of that's written by 26 ovarian cancer survivors. Some has passed away, and some are still living. My wife had ovarian cancer. She died December 2014, and we have been together for 13 years. In April 2007, we found out that she had ovarian cancer, and that's when her journey started with ovarian cancer. She passed away at 57. She was a very, very good person. Very loving person. There was one thing that she said to me quite often, and that was she had jumped from a burning plane. She was in the she got struck by lightning. She got stabbed, mugged. What else? She completed 2 tours of Desert Storm and Quake. And she says to me, she will look at me and say, all of those things that I had made it through the 2 tours in Desert Storm and Quake, jumped from a burning plane, being in a burning house, stabbed, mugged, and she says, and look what's going to take me out. Cancer. The C word. She hated that the most, knowing that she had survived all of those things that has happened to her. And this was going to take her out. It was going to take her life. Yeah. But she fought a good fight. She fought a good fight. The doctor had said she would, she had only like 3 months, but she lived for 7 years, 7 good years. And one of the things that we did was we went out looking for a log cabin, and we found that cabin. We purchased that cabin, and we, when we wasn't staying in it on the weekends, because it was not close to our house. It was in another city, but it was peace and serenity for her. She worked on this cabin. She built a deck by herself on this cabin. She did, we had 3 other buildings on this property that we had. We had a cottage, a little cottage, and it was just a tin building, and she insulated it. She put the shower in that by herself. She built that. She put the little sink for the kitchen. She did that. She did almost everything to make that little cottage livable. It had electricity, it had water, shower, kitchen. She did it. And then we had a shed, and we also, there was another building, we had a trailer, a trailer on the property in the back where the rest of it was. And that trailer was mine, and the cottage was hers. So we enjoyed it. And some of the people that, I don't know, I may have skipped that once we purchased the cabin, what we did with it is allowed anybody with a terminal illness to stay in it a week free of charge. Because that's what it was for. Because when we found out that B had ovarian cancer, we after they took some of the fluid off of her stomach, we got in our car and we drove, and the different places that we went to, different cities that we went to, we ended up staying at some places that were really in the, I wouldn't say country, but sort of like that. They had little cabins, looked like shacks on the outside, but on the inside it was nice. So that was peace and tranquility, and gave her time to just think about, you know, her fight, her life, and to make sure that we enjoyed each other for whatever time that we had left. And we did. And I must say, B, I call her B, there was nothing there was nothing else besides just living life that she had not done. She played all kinds of instruments. She'd been in a band. She had her dream job. She was a aviation inspector. She inspects planes. She was in the military, Air Force, for 20 years, in the Army 2 years. She's traveled the world, and she met me. And we enjoyed our life to the end. To the end. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to start. I guess I could. This is my second time doing this video tonight. Well, it's morning time. I'm not sure what happens. So here I go again. Before I start that, I do want to show I have my tattoos in remembrance of the teal is for ovarian cancer, the pink is for breast cancer, and this says faith. And on this other one, on this one, in remembrance of me and all the ovarian and breast cancer survivors, those that have passed away. The teal is for ovarian cancer, the pink is breast cancer, and this says hope. I'm gonna start trying to get comfortable. I'm going to start off with the introduction. Okay, the introduction is, once upon a time, she would begin, and then you'd hear a story. In the early years, these stories were about magical creatures, kings and queens and castles. They had happy endings. As you grew up, the stories changed. Instead of being about made-up people and places, they began to be real. They began to be about you. You became a character, and the story became your life. It was about your adventures, challenges, circumstances, important people, and places. somewhere along the way, we stopped telling stories at all. Life happened and circumstances changed. Remember and reliving experiences you may have become safer not to open up, not to invite others into the story of your life, but there is healing power in stories, in telling them and in hearing them. Our grandmothers and grandmothers knew something valuable. Our great-grandmothers and grandmothers knew something valuable. They knew that they had to gather together. They often gathered around the quilting table, bringing what they had in their quilting bags, often just scraps. They laid them out on the table as an offering for the whole. As they wove their scraps into a beautiful quilt, they did more than just sew. They talked and shared and invited another into their stories. In the end, they wind up with something that would not only keep them warm, they wound up with much more warmth from knowing one another through the telling of their stories. The real work of these quilting bees was the power of intimacy in relationships through the patchworking of offering resources, telling tales, and investing time and energy for the common good. In today's culture, women play many roles, serving many people. Often, the first thing to go is their time with other women. Research proves the benefits of a support group. It can be young mothers getting together to encourage and build confidence. It can be women getting together to talk about personal issues in our lives. Meeting with others can inspire us to make necessary changes. The Baylor Ovarian Cancer Support Group is a safe place where we can sit, breathe, talk, listen, hug, and be hugged. We have found that telling our stories has resulted in intimate relationships that we would not trade. We are profoundly grateful for one another. Our hope is that by reading our stories, you will have your hope stirred and your courage stiffened. One of the best definitions of intimacy is into me see. We warmly welcome you to see into us. We'd like to share an email we received from a member who had just been diagnosed with ovarian cancer and was devastated. She came from a neighboring city to attend our luncheon and got a copy of our book. She started attending meetings. Here's what she wrote. I just realized that when I stepped into Baylor for the luncheon 6 months ago, I sat down and all of a sudden, a blonde woman who was very loud and full of life told me to have hope and to dream. I just now realized how far I had come in these 6 months with the help of you women. You are now my friends. I love you. You have made such a huge impact in my life. You are so important to me. There are times I had doubts I would make it. She went on to start a support group in her own city. and an acknowledgement of the warmth provided by our group's patchwork. She made a quilt just like our foremothers. Each square has on it the title and author's name of a story from our group's first book. TORCH, acronyms stand for Tales of Remarkable Courage and Hope. 7 of these trailblazing writers are no longer with us in body, but will forever remain in spirit. That quilt is a reminder of how our meetings and the sharing of our stories have quilted us together. As you read this book, we hope that you will be warmed and encouraged in your journey. As the torch has been passed within our group from book 1 to book 2, we now pass it to you. And this was written by Becky Teeter and Catherine Teeter Gilly, mother and daughter. Our next title is Emboldened by Hope. Drink 1 minute. Sorry, my lips. Okay. Emboldened by Hope. This is a poem. Walking through life, encountering good times and bad, laughing, caring, challenge, and even being sad. We should have been prepared for this trial we have to face, but caring for friends and families do not fit us for this race. But cancer crashes in with paralyzing fear, bringing numbing trauma, encouraging voices that we barely can hear. When the shock wears off, after treatment has changed things, a new mood should surround us, one that hope and determination brings. Yes, hope in doctors that they may see new treatments, new visions for wellness to be. Hope in ourselves that we can physically endure the necessary treatment to produce a cure. Living a life that is changed but true, a new sense of normal for me and for you. We can still live life savoring the blessings of each day, living life to the fullest, encouraging others every step of the way. God has given us this torch to hold high. Let us be faithful, caring, and illuminate the sky. May those sisters who come after us be empowered by the torch's light, filled with hope, positive resolve. God is with them in this fight. May fear, anxiety, and turmoil too, along with rage, decrease. Knowing the God of hope fills you with his hope, joy, peace. Romans 15 and 13. And this is by Bobby Sewell. I remember Bobby because I attended the ovarian cancer support group, also with my wife on Monday morning, and Bobby was a very sweet lady, a very quiet lady, like myself. She was very quiet, very nice, sweet lady, and I'm not sure if Bobby is still living or not, but there's Bobby. We got stories of hope. This is named called Life, a Russian River. Life is like a Russian river. You can't stop it. It will return to where it comes from, the beautiful ocean. Looking around, you will find a beautiful world that God created. We're also God's creation, wonderfully made. I thank God for choosing me to be His child. July 2005, I had just recovered somewhat from losing my sister to lung cancer 5 months before. I was diagnosed with stage 4C ovarian cancer. For 3 years, I had endured pain, spotting, and incontinence. Finally, we had found the culprit. August 2005, I had successful surgery and didn't experience pain. I didn't even take any pain relievers. However, I did feel weak and funny inside my tummy. This feeling shocked me. I knew God was watching over me as I endured 6 rounds of chemotherapy. My hope was that God would cure me. My spirit was high. I was not scared. The next 3 months were very sweet. We went back to many of my old activities, and I couldn't wait for my hair to grow back. I even joined the fitness center. I was just so happy to feel normal again. March 2006, my CA 125 inched up from 37 to 70, and finally to 800. I think this is where in the other video that was somehow lost. I think the CA 125. C is in Charlie, A is in Adam, 125. CA 125 is the test that is given to women to tell if they have ovarian cancer. Okay, once again, CA 125 is the test that is given to women to see if they have ovarian cancer. One thing you need to remember, and I'm not gonna say many or a lot, but I do know women don't really. They think that your Pap smear will be able to tell you if you have ovarian cancer or not. That's not true. Pap smears do not pick up ovarian cancer. That's why so many women are misdiagnosed. And a correct diagnosis is the difference between life and death, living and dying. So you don't want to to be misdiagnosed. You do not want to waste time or doctors failing to give you the right diagnosis. Okay, and the correct CA 125 is from 0 to 35 is a good CA 125. If it's higher than that, that's what tells you if you have ovarian cancer. And the test for breast cancer is BRAC. BRAC. It's a gene that will that test, blood test, buffalo blood test, will tell you if you have breast cancer and or ovarian cancer. Okay, so ICA 125 inched up from 37 to 70, and finally to 800. It was hard waiting. Something had happened. I was totally occupied and depressed by this. The elevated CA 125 in the waiting. Day and night, my mind was not clear, and I was filled with despair, self-pity, and worry. I tried an antidepressant, but it made me feel worse. So I stopped taking it. This was a drowning time for me. But God's love and words got hold of me. It was an awakening time. Try not to let my mind to wander toward fear for too long. I made up my mind with God's help that I would be happy and enjoy my life again. These particular scriptures ministered my spirit. Come near to God, and he will come near to you. James 4 and 8. Do not be anxious about anything. By prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your request to God, and peace will transcend all understanding, will guard your hearts and mind in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4, 6 through 7. 2007 through 2008, I found God faithful and merciful to me while I was on doxorubicin and Avastin treatments. Time sailed right back. Excuse me. January 2009. It is the beginning of a new year. Looking back on the past 3.5 years, I find that I have never been as challenged before. Facing an unknown future, waiting for lab results, the disappointments of failed treatment, the side effects of chemotherapy. These are so hard to handle. Sometimes, when the load gets too heavy, I go to Baylor Ovarian Support Group. I thank God for all these ladies here. I admire their courage and strength. They inspire me so much. So many people are suffering from all kinds of situations. But one day my suffering will end. When that day comes, I know my Lord will take me to my eternal, beautiful home. My family will be okay. We will meet again. And this was written by Judy Pan. The torch was passed on by Judy to this next lady, Carol Gardner. Her title is When All the Magic Was Gone. It was Christmas morning of 2006, and we were going to Disneyland. Santa left our grandchildren, their parents, my husband Larry, and me a trip to California for June 30th, 2007. My grandchildren was excited. They began counting the days off on their Disney calendar when their dreams would come true. What an incredible, magical world Walt Disney created for all ages to enjoy. We got up early to breakfast with Minnie and Tigger and Cinderella and Chip and Dale. We stayed up late to watch the fireworks. We walked to this and we walked to that to see Mickey and watch Pluto dance at the fire station. We tried not to leave anything out, but all good things must come to an end. We were headed home July the 6th, remembering that magical place. I was back to work, doing errands, having lunch with family, and playing with my grandchildren. Some of the grandchildren took a week at a time to spend with Larry and me. I even had 5 children for a sleepover on Friday, July the 20th. Over the weekend, I began having discomfort in my tummy, and my belly began swelling like I was pregnant. How would I know that my next trip would last much longer and would not be filled with magic? On Monday, July 23rd, I called my internist. After talking to her in her office, she sent for a chest stomach x-ray. I returned to her office for the results. She told me that the x-ray indicated I was impacted, which sometimes happens when you go on vacation. She then sent me to my gastro doctor, who prescribed an antibiotic and milk of magnesia. By Wednesday, I was more uncomfortable. This treatment was not working. A telephone call later, I had an appointment for a CT scan on Thursday, July 26th. In a telephone call that night, my internist told me the scan I had cancer and fluid on the abdomen. I was then a 63-year-old healthy, I thought, woman who ate right, was full of energy, and had yearly checkups and mammogram. Through the internist's office, an appointment was made for me to see Dr. Carolyn Matthews, a gynecologist-oncologist at Baylor University Center at Dallas, where all my doctors are located. She verified the cancer was ovarian stage 3C and admitted me to the hospital that day for a biopsy and paracensis. This was not a fun trip. A CA-125 is a simple blood test that should be included in lab work you have done every year with physicals, but it is not. Once again, a CA-125 is a simple blood test that should be included in lab work you have done every year with physicals, but it is not. was 1800, was 1859. The normal range is 0 to 35. Normal range for CA 125 is 0 to 35. I went home August the 2nd. How would I tell my precious grandchildren who love their mom Carol so much? Their parents did a beautiful job. I had lost so much weight and had so little energy. On the day of their first visit, I got myself all together. They arrived with concerns, but most of all, hugs and kisses. We started talking a lot. We started talking a lot on the telephone. They missed me, and I certainly missed them. My loving husband of 42 years was by my side at all times. Our daughter and son and his wife took shifts staying with me. Everything was happening so fast. Depression, fears of death, and the dark, and being alone, and claustrophobia. I was in trouble. I had read about a support group for ovarian cancer patients at Baylor, but I couldn't handle being around others who I thought would be feeling sorry for themselves and complaining. That's what I was doing. In August, I had 2 sessions of chemotherapy, carboplatin, and toxin, another paracentesis, and lab work. I never felt nausea after chemo, but for 5 or 6 days I had no energy. I just sat around. My hair had begun to fall out, so my daughter came and shaved the rest and told me I was beautiful. My son would pick me up and take me for lab work. One day we stopped at Ernie's Appearance Center looking for a wig. I knew I had found the right one when he wiggled his eyebrows and then winked at me. My fears and anxiety were still there. In September, I found a counselor and began sessions. My CA 125 was now 686, and I had my 3rd chemo treatment. My courage and hope grew when that CA 125 was going down. My family continued to support me and give me their love. My grandchildren drew me pictures and sent cards and happy books of love and kisses. One granddaughter loaned me one of her most precious possessions, a little stuffed animal called Patsy. She had selected this when she stopped sucking her thumb. Patsy was always close and went with me each time I had chemotherapy. My friends, both near and far, were incredible with cards, phone calls, visits, all being so positive. I had a CT scan and lab tests with a CA 125 of 174, scheduled in early October 2007. When I arrived at Dr. Matthews' office on October the 10th, she told me that after looking at the scan, she knew it was time for surgery. Chemotherapy had loosened the Taliban cells. Surgery was scheduled for October 22nd. I spent the week in the hospital with the most remarkable staff. My surgery was successful. Larry always stayed at night. I didn't sleep much. I watched him fight that chair that turned into a bed. My children would come during the day. Having them with me and knowing how much they loved me got me through another phase. October 26th was my 64th birthday. I tried to get the doctors and staff to sing to me, but they didn't. However, they did have the hospital bake me a cake. I went home on Friday. Larry arranged to have a caregiver stay with me during the day while he was at work. That worked out great. I had chemo treatment number 4. My CA-125 was now 47. My November routine was much the same as the other months. My CA-125 was 11, and I had chemo treatment number 5. My activities were planned around those days after chemo treatment number 6, when I knew I would feel better. And have more energy. Santa Claus was coming to town. We went to see a Christmas play and had breakfast with Santa. My CA-125 was 5. We celebrated Christmas with family and friends. It was a good December. Happy New Year, 2008. I had two chemo treatments to go. January and February came and went. I had chemo treatments number 7 and 8. My CA-125 was 3. No more chemo. Wow. Happiness is I had made it. Larry and I, all the family celebrated. I had another CAT scan on March the 18th. The results indicated complete resolution of all findings. My CA-125 was 2. I saw Dr. Matthews on April 29th. My CA-125 was 6. She was pleased. Larry and I was very happy. We had made this journey together and won. We took some trips. Our grandchildren spent some weeks with us when we went to soccer camp. I felt wonderful. My hair was grown back, and the children loved following the growth and patting me on the head. Those 3 months was great, but anticipation of my next lab test and doctor's visit never left me. That day, July 22nd, I arrived for my lab work and then went to Dr. Matthews' office. My CA-125 was 105. The cancer had come back. Larry was with me. We hugged and cried. After a while, Dr. Matthews discussed options and treatment. I was a candidate for a research study being done at the Mary Crowley Research Center at Baylor. We saw the nurse that day and made an appointment to return. We had planned a cruise to celebrate. We made the trip, but there was a dark cloud over us. This side of the cloud was very dark. I couldn't quite see around it till I smiled a bit and looked under it. And there was the sun. I found it. And that was by Ruth F. Gilpin. My appointment was August the 6th with lab work done. My CA-125 was now 134. A CT scan and an appointment with Dr. Matthews to follow. Larry and I went to the Mary Crowley Research Center on August the 12th to begin some tests. I had the BRAC analysis, which is the BRCA, or Robert Charlie Adam, BRCA analysis, is a blood test to determine if you carry the gene that puts you at risk for ovarian cancer and or breast cancer. Okay. Let me repeat that again so you get it. I had the BRAC analysis. It's a blood test to determine if you carry the gene that puts you at risk for ovarian cancer and or breast cancer. I tested negative. I have given this gift to give to my children and grandchildren. Doxil is my drug to be given monthly with weekly labs. My CA-125 climbed to 373 before it started to decline. It is now 172 and stable. Stable is a good word. Each month of stable counts as a month advancing research and treatments. Remember that ovarian support group I spoke of earlier? Well, I tracked them down one Monday morning in August. I saw two ladies talking. I knocked on the door. They turned and I said, "May I be a member of your group?" One screamed with excitement, and both smiled and welcomed me. One day, a few months earlier, during one of my chemo treatments, a nice lady came by. She stopped and smiled and told me about a group of ladies with ovarian cancer who had written a book called Torch, with the acronyms of Tales of Remarkable Courage and Hope. She gave me a copy. At the time, I was having problems with depression, so Larry said that he would read it first. It was sometime before I read these incredible stories. This book is why I needed these ladies. There is no feeling sorry for yourself or complaining. Just lots of support, understanding, and sharing. Dr. Carolyn Matthews has been with me on my cancer journey. She has so much expertise and caring. I believe, and as my friend Becky says, I have endless hope. There's no magic in this trip of mine, but I will say I'm doing fine in 09. No woman deserves this agony and pain, this suffering and this strain. So I have a wish, if you please, that a cure will be found for this terrible disease. And this was written by Carol Gordon. I remember Carol. Carol is also a very nice, sweet lady. I'm not sure if Carol, I do remember Carol, but I don't know if she's still here with us. Have she passed on to the other life? I do believe I'm going to, because this is a long one, I'm going to stop this video at this story, and I'll start another video, because for some reason it must be a certain time that you could a length of the videos, and when I go over, it throws out my videos, and that sucks. this is the second time I've had to redo videos. So, once again, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate y'all. Anybody that listens to these stories and get the informative information, because like I said, being diagnosed correctly is just the difference between living and dying, life and death. So I appreciate it, and hopefully y'all appreciate the fact that I choose to want to spread knowledge, because knowledge is power. And I know my wife would, she's happy that I would take this on and keep spreading and getting the information out there. So there are women that will not end up being stage 3C or stage 4 because they have been misdiagnosed and their symptoms have been overlooked, even though symptoms are textbook diagnosed of having ovarian cancer. I'm not sure if I already said it, but I'm going to say it again. If you have well, I'll do this on another video, but I appreciate y'all. If you would do this replay, please listen and take the information and do the right thing, so you won't lose your life. Thank you very much, and I will see y'all next video.